You weren't supposed to be home until tomorrow. That's the first truth. You had planned the return with precision, a quiet entrance, a long bath, and a night in your own bed after 2 weeks of being politely over-socialized at a leadership retreat in Switzerland. You even smiled a little as the customs officer stamped your passport, picturing the silence of your living room. But flights shift, delays cancel. And when that earlier connection popped up on the screen in Zurich, you took it without hesitation. So now you're pulling into your own driveway at sunset suitcase wheels bumping over the stones, and something feels wrong. The driveway is full, not like one or two cars, like a dealership. You count at least 11 vehicles. Your front lawn, normally a perfectly groomed square, is smushed under tires and folding chairs. Folding chairs. The music hits you before you see the source, bass thumping a cheap remix of something that used to be classy, and voices, dozens of them, shouting, laughing, calling out names you don't recognize. Your hand hovers over the key in your pocket, but your door is already wide open, not cracked, not ajar, open. You step in. There are balloons in the foyer, streamers along the hallway, a punch bowl on your antique credenza. Someone you've never seen before waves and says, "Hey, you must be Cassie's cousin." You're not. You don't know a Cassie. There are children barefoot on the leather couch you paid off last year. A man in a pineapple shirt is playing dominoes on your glass coffee table, the one you special ordered from Italy. He's using your coasters, your limited edition coasters. There's a poster on the wall you didn't put up. You squint. It's been drawn on by a child in marker. You grip the edge of the table and try to breathe. You know your sister has a flair for dramatics. She always called your house a waste of square footage on one person. But even she wouldn't. That's when you see it. Hanging in the archway between the kitchen and dining room is a massive banner. Red cursive, glittery, printed not handmade. This was planned. It reads, "Family means forever." And beneath it, someone is carving a roast, your roast, the one you were saving for your birthday. A group of people cheer as a tray of cupcakes is brought out. You hear your name. Not directly, but you catch it whispered like a password in the corner of a conversation. She said it was fine. You know her never wants to be involved. Too busy. A woman walks by and places her baby, her actual baby, into your reading nook. The baby drools on your art books. You finally speak, not a scream, just a single raw question. What is happening? A teenage boy who doesn't look up from his phone says, "You late Aunt Jackie said you were in Tibet or something." You're not Aunt Jackie, and you were in Geneva. You look for a familiar face. Any face? You spot your cousin Drew. He used to be nice. Until the inheritance talk. He spots you, raises his red solo cup like a salute. "Hey, you made it bold of you to come early. Jules said you weren't back till Thursday. We figured we'd be gone by then." Jewel, your sister. You clench your jaw. The air in your house smells like too many brands of cologne mixing with burnt cheese. You step over someone's suitcase and head toward the stairs. Someone's suitcase. In your house. You don't say anything else. Not yet. You need to see how deep this goes. You need to see your bedroom. But mostly, you need to stop your hands from shaking before they realize the wrong person got back early. The steps creak under your feet, but not with the familiar rhythm you're used to. It's a new sound, mixed with the faint thud of bass echoing up the walls, the rhythmic stomp of unfamiliar shoes on wood, and someone's laughter, high-pitched, sharp, unbothered. You pause at the top of the stairs. The hallway smells like lavender spray and burnt incense. Not yours. You only use candles, quiet ones with labels in French. Your scent is sandalwood and sage. What you're breathing now is cheap, artificial, spray can hospitality. The guest room door is open. Inside, someone is snoring, loudly. A pair of size 13 sneakers are on the desk you assembled yourself last winter. The desk now supports a half-eaten bag of chips and a Bluetooth speaker pumping lo-fi beats like it's a college dorm. Your mouth opens slightly, but you say nothing. You keep walking. Down the hallway toward your bedroom, your sanctuary. The one room you thought would still be intact, still yours. The door is shut. You almost sigh in relief. But then you notice it a sticky note. It's pink. It reads in your sister's handwriting, master claim for the kids. Hope that's okay, Jay. Your hand is on the doorknob before your brain can process the message. You push it open and freeze. There are 3 children on your bed. Not sitting, jumping. One is holding your throw pillow like a shield. Another is wearing your robe the one embroidered with your initials. Someone has drawn smiley faces on the mirror in what you pray is dry erase marker. On your dresser, there are juice boxes. On your armchair, there's a woman, probably their mother, scrolling on her phone like she's in a waiting room. She doesn't look up. You're silent long enough for one of the kids to notice you. The smallest one stops bouncing and says, "You're not Aunt Jules." You nod slowly. "No, I'm not." The woman finally glances up, vaguely annoyed. "Oh, hey, you must be the cleaning lady Jules mentioned. Do you mind doing the guest bath after this?" The twins clog the sink. You stare at her. There's a long pause. You don't answer. Instead, you turn and leave the room. You don't go back down the stairs. You don't return to the crowd or the banner or the overly confident second cousins you never approved of. You duck into your home office, lock the door behind you, and sit in the chair you picked out for lumbar support and late-night spreadsheets. You stare at your monitor. A post-it is stuck to the edge of the screen. More of Jules' handwriting. Logged into your Netflix for the projector. Twy. And just like that, the reality of it hits. This wasn't spontaneous. This wasn't someone crashing for the night. This was organized, coordinated, approved by your sister without so much as a heads up. She had planned a full-scale event in your house while you were away. A reunion, she'd say. A celebration. A gathering of those who matter. And she didn't even think to call you. Scratch that she thought of you just enough to assume you'd say no. So she didn't give you the chance. You stare at the blinking cursor on your laptop screen for a long time, wondering if this is the part where you're supposed to explode, scream, kick everyone out. But instead, a memory floats in. Years ago, back when you and Jules shared a room with bunk beds, you'd come home to find your side ransacked, your things borrowed without asking. And when you complained, she'd say you weren't using it. And anyway, what's yours is ours, right? It wasn't a question then. It isn't now. You press your palms against your face. Somewhere downstairs, someone's starting a toast. You hear clinking glasses, forced laughter. You imagine your sister with a wine glass recounting stories you'd rather forget, painting herself as the glue that holds everyone together. Except glue doesn't invade someone's house. Glue doesn't install a banner over someone else's kitchen island. You unlock your phone. There are no missed calls, no texts, just one group photo posted by your cousin Drew, already racking up likes. Family is everything. So grateful for Jules for organizing this epic surprise. Shujabrikar forever family. Arandaria cousin goals. Hadariwek home is where the heart is. You look at the faces. They're all smiling. They're all standing in your living room. And just like that, the smile that was almost forming on your lips disappears. You sit back, and for the first time since stepping into your hijacked house, you start thinking not about what they did, but what you're about to do. You don't storm downstairs, you don't shout, you don't even knock on the bedroom door to reclaim what's yours. What you do is quieter, sharper. You walk back into the hallway, ignoring the noise, the stray flip-flops, the damp towel crumpled against the wall like a lazy accusation. You make your way to the kitchen. Because of course you need to see it for yourself. The counter is littered with empty cups, paper plates, crumbs, confetti, and someone's car keys. Your grandmother's china cabinet, the one she left you, and only you, is ajar. One of the crystal goblets is on the table, holding orange soda. There are handprints on the fridge. Someone drew a smiley face in the condensation on your wine cooler. A woman you vaguely recognize from a wedding sits on the kitchen stool, filing her nails over your fruit bowl. She doesn't look up. You refill the snacks yet. You don't answer. Instead, you find Jewel. She's outside naturally, holding court on the patio, sitting in one of your white garden chairs, the one you told everyone not to use because of the paint legs, crossed sunglasses on, holding a mimosa like it's a scepter. You open the screen door slowly. She sees you. "Oh," she says, standing up. "You're early." She says it like it's your mistake. You tilt your head. "So I noticed." Jewel laughs. She actually laughs. Well, surprise ruined, I guess. You stare at her. "What surprise? The part where I find out you distributed my address like a coupon code?" "Don't be dramatic," she says, brushing invisible lint off her dress. "It's family. They needed a place. We haven't all been to one space in years. You have the room. It made sense." "Did it?" She blinks, annoyed now. "Look, I figured you'd understand. You're always saying you don't care about holidays or birthdays. I thought, I don't know, maybe we could use this space to make some memories." You breathe through your nose. Did you even think to ask? Jules' lips twitch. She doesn't like being questioned. If I asked, you would have said no. So I made the executive call. You raise your eyebrows. Executive call. She nods. I handled everything. The food, the invites, even set up the guest rotations. Everyone's staying just 2 nights max. You think of the kid painting on your bedroom walls. You think of the woman who called you the cleaning lady. And what you ask voice low gave you the impression that my home was available for that. Jules sighs. Because you never use it. You're always gone. Work trips, retreats, solo vacations. You treat this house like a hotel. You don't even live in it. Something cracks in your chest, but it's not anger. It's that old wound again. The one from every family dinner where your success was treated like distance, where your privacy became selfishness, where boundaries were ungrateful. You nod slowly, so I'm being punished for building something. She shrugs. No one's punishing you. We're just sharing the wealth. You laugh softly, bitterly. That what you call this? A child screams inside. Someone knocks over a chair. The music spikes again. Jules glances at the chaos, then back to you. Look, we're all here now. It's already happening. Just be cool, okay? You don't want to make a scene. You stare at her, and in your mind you see it all rewinding. The unpaid favors, the way she showed up only when there were cameras, the way she introduced herself at events as co-visionary, even though you'd never co-signed anything. The time she asked for a loan just to stay afloat and then posted photos from Bali the next week. You think of your dad always telling you to be the bigger person. You think of your mom calling Jules a little lost, as if that gave her immunity from consequence. And then you think of yourself, the kid who studied through every birthday party, the teenager who worked weekends while everyone else drank behind the high school gym, the adult who bought this house outright with no one's help, only to come home to find it offered to strangers like a community buffet. And quietly something shifts. You nod once, then you say calmly, "You're right. Let's not make a scene." Jules smiles. Too easily. Knew you'd get it. That's why you're the anchor. You don't correct her. You just walk past her back into your house, back into the party. You begin counting people exits valuables. Because if they think they know what sharing looks like, they're about to learn what reclaiming feels like. You start with the pantry. It's half empty, rated for chips, cookies, and your stash of single origin coffee. You spot a half-eaten jar of truffle almonds you imported from Italy. Someone didn't even put the lid back on. You replace it slowly, not to preserve the almonds, but to protect the evidence. You're thinking clearly now, not emotionally, not wildly. Just precisely. You slip your phone from your pocket, open the security app. The cameras, thank God, are still live. No one thought to unplug those. You scroll through feeds, front door, back gate, upstairs hallway, garage, office. You tap the record button on each one. Then you walk to the basement. No one is down there yet. It's quiet, cooler. You take a breath. The air smells like cement and resolve. You open the safe behind the bookshelf and start pulling out what matters: your mother's wedding ring, the one she gave you when she thought you might one day use it, the backup drive with 20 years of financials, the signed first edition novels, the documents in the folder marked irrevocable trust. You place everything gently into a bag, layer it between soft cloths. You move like a ghost, silent, unseen. Upstairs, someone plays a song you hate and sings every word wrong. You smile, not cruelly, not bitterly, just knowingly. Because now you're gathering, quietly, strategically. You head to your closet, next step over a half-unzipped suitcase, and gather your real essentials: jewelry, passports, work equipment. You leave the clothing, the bags, the shoes. Let them have the wrapping. You're taking the core. You wrap your laptop in a hoodie, unplug the charging station, check drawers. You find a toddler's sock in your makeup organizer. You don't even blink. Instead, you go to the breaker box. It's behind a panel near the laundry room. You open it, make a mental note of the zones, and shut it again. Not now. Later. That will be your music. By the time you finish packing, it's after midnight. Most of the noise has faded. People are settling in, bloated and buzzed, assuming the castle will hold overnight. You know better. You glance at your bedroom one last time before closing the door behind you. The mattress still carries the shape of someone else's choices. You don't slam it, you don't make a sound. Outside, you open your car. You load the bag gently into the back seat and sit in the driver's seat. The engine hums like approval. You pull away from the curb and not one person inside notices you've left. Perfect. You don't go far. Just a few blocks away is a business suite you sometimes rent when clients are in town, minimal, clean, safe. No one in your family even knows it exists. You park, carry your bag inside, set it down on the wooden desk like an offering to your future self. Then you get to work. Laptop open, Wi-Fi off, mobile data only. You open your smart home dashboard. And slowly, carefully, you begin. First, you disable the Wi-Fi router remotely. The one that Jules praised in a post last month for being lightning fast, thanks sis. You see the devices vanish one by one from the network list. Then the smart thermostat. You turn the temperature up, not dramatically, just enough to melt the chill from the air and replace it with a sticky discomfort. The kind that ruins sleep. Then you cut the cable. The television goes dark. The speaker systems mute. The music dies. You get a text from an unknown number. Hey, the Wi-Fi just cut out. Can you reset it? Trying to stream something? You don't respond. Another text comes in. From Jules, is the internet acting weird? Probably just a glitch. All good though. You don't answer her either. Instead, you send one final command to the dashboard. Initiate away mode. All lights off, security armed, schedule cleared, access codes revoked. Inside the house phones start losing signal. Smart TVs reboot into silence. Guests shift in confusion. And you just sit in your new temporary home watching it unfold in the soft glow of your laptop screen. The cameras catch it all, the looks, the complaints, the stumbling toward light switches that no longer obey. And slowly the mood changes. From party to puzzle. From entitlement to unease. You sip from a water bottle and whisper to yourself, family means forever good. Let's see how long forever feels without air conditioning. You close the laptop. Tomorrow you'll call your lawyer. Tonight you let them marinate in the quiet you were denied. You wake before dawn. Not because you couldn't sleep, but because you slept well. There's something about taking back control that wraps around you like a weighted blanket. You stretch slowly in the stiff hotel armchair, letting the silence soak into your bones. And then you check the cameras. The house is a different creature in the early hours. No music, no shouting, just fragments of people, shadows pacing hallways, whispered arguments in the foyer, kids whining about heat, adults snapping back with, I don't know, maybe ask Jewel. You watch as someone fumbles with the thermostat, taps it repeatedly, then smacks it like the machine can feel guilt. It can't. You sip your coffee and smile. Upstairs, a woman opens your linen closet and discovers there are no clean towels. Because, of course, no one thought to bring any. That would imply planning or permission. In your bedroom, the same child who painted the mirror now cries because the magic TV doesn't work anymore. You're not proud of the satisfaction you feel. But you're also not sorry. You glance at the window. Still dark out, still quiet. You call your lawyer. He answers groggily, "This better be." It is, you say. 10 minutes later, he's wide awake and impressed. So let me get this straight. You've got video evidence signed, social posts, unauthorized entry, and physical damage. You nod knowing he can't see you. All of it. And no formal rental agreement. None. There's a pause. Then he says, "This is going to be fun." By mid-morning, your inbox has the beginnings of an invoice. Repair costs, property violation, unauthorized gathering, emotional distress. The language is cold, professional, and perfectly polite. But you can already see how it will land. You get dressed, nothing flashy, clean, crisp clothes, power in understatement. Then you drive home. Not slowly, not dramatically, just with purpose. When you pull into the street, the scene looks like someone hit pause on a sitcom that's gone stale. Cars parked crookedly, people sweating on the porch. A woman fans herself with a paper plate. The family means forever banner sags slightly in the sun. You park, step out, and it's like a scene from a bad dream, everyone looking up, half expecting you to smile, to say something generous, like sorry about the mix-up. But you don't. You walk to the door. It's locked. That's adorable. You punch in the new code. It clicks open. Inside, you're met with silence. Not everyone's awake, but those who are freeze. A man in swim trunks stands barefoot on your rug, holding your orange juice like it belongs to him. He offers a sheepish smile. You walk past him. In the kitchen, Jules is standing by the empty fruit bowl, hair frizz mascara, smudged phone in hand. "No service," she says, voice cracking. "What's going on?" You place the invoice on the island. She blinks at it. What is this? You don't rush the answer. You let the words find their own weight. That you say is the cost of disrespect. Jules stares at the total. Her lips part like she's about to say this is ridiculous. But she doesn't, because even she can feel it the shift. The moment something playful turns legal. You're kidding. I'm not, but it was family. You nod, exactly. That's when Drew walks in bleary-eyed, holding a dead phone like it betrayed him. You back for good? He asks, stretching. Place kind of fell apart without the internet. You don't even look at him. Instead, you turn back to Jules and say, gather everyone, now. To her credit, she doesn't argue. Maybe it's your tone. Maybe it's the invoice. Maybe it's the realization that no amount of hashtags or cousin loyalty will clean up what's coming. They file in slowly, confused, hungover, curious. And then you speak. Not with rage, not with revenge, but with truth. The kind that sits in your chest for years and waits for an exit. You start small, explaining how you built this home without help. How you worked through birthdays, skipped holidays, missed parties to make something stable. You talk about boundaries and how often they were treated like suggestions. You don't point fingers, you don't shout. You just tell the story, your story. And when you're done, the room is quiet. Someone coughs. A kid asks if they can watch TV now. And you say gently, no, this gathering is over. You pick up the invoice again. You have 24 hours to vacate. And someone's paying for the damage. I don't care who. You turn and walk away. Let them absorb it. Let the silence teach what your patience never could. You don't stay to supervise the exodus. You go upstairs not to clean, not to cry, but to retrieve what they never noticed: the folder in your nightstand drawer marked options. Inside are plans, sketches, property evaluations, even the number of a relocation consultant you once met at a conference and kept in your contacts just in case. Because the truth is, you've been thinking about leaving this house long before it was invaded. You just didn't expect them to be the ones who finally made it easy. Back downstairs, the mood has shifted from disbelief to damage control. They aren't whispering now. They're negotiating. You hear your uncle suggest, maybe if we pool together we can settle it. Someone else mutters she wouldn't really go legal. Would she? Jules is pacing. She has that brittle smile she always uses when she's seconds from breaking, but still wants to look in control. You know it well. The same one she wore when she wrecked your car at 17 and blamed the steering. The same one from the Thanksgiving. She accidentally read your journal aloud as a party trick. This smile is an old friend. She tries to find you again. Later stands outside your door like a schoolgirl rehearsing apologies she doesn't believe. Hey, she says, voice soft. Look, I was out of line. I can admit that. You say nothing. People make mistakes. Still nothing. Do you really want to blow all this up? Over. What? A party? A weekend. You open the door slowly. She flinches, maybe because you're calm. Maybe because she expected anger and got ice instead. You tilt your head. It's not about the weekend. Then what? You meet her eyes. It's about the moment you decided my silence was your permission. She opens her mouth, closes it. You continue. You didn't ask because you knew I'd say no. So you created a version of me that wouldn't care. One that was too busy or too private or too cold. And you gave her my house. Jules swallows. I didn't mean... I know exactly what you meant, you say. And that's why you're not staying. She blinks, stunned. You don't give her more. You step past her down the hallway and into your office. You power on your laptop and send the final attachments to your lawyer. A scanned inventory, photos of the damage, screenshots of the posts, the kind of documentation that doesn't scream revenge, but rings like accountability. It takes 2 hours for people to start leaving. Not all at once trickles. A couple first, then a family, then a wave. They avoid eye contact. They murmur apologies, offer nervous smiles. One man actually tries to fist bump you on the way out. You don't move. By the afternoon, your living room is quiet again. The last to leave is Drew. He stands in the doorway, suitcase in hand, looking like a dog who chewed through something important. Hey, he says. No hard feelings, right? You look at the scuff marks on the floor near his feet. You look at the gouge on the wall behind him, left by a chair dragged carelessly. Then you say, you'll find the invoice in your email. He gives a small, bitter laugh. You've really changed, you know that. You nod, I really have. And then he's gone. You close the door, slowly, finally. You don't cry. You don't scream. You just exhale. The quiet doesn't feel like loneliness anymore. It feels earned. You walk through your house surveying the mess, the smells, the crumbs of people who thought they were entitled to your space. You don't clean yet. You let it sit, let it show you something. The couch isn't just stained, it's proof. The broken mug, a memory of carelessness. The fridge half empty, a metaphor with a door. And still somehow none of this breaks you. You're already building something new. Maybe not another house, maybe not a family, but a boundary so solid no one will mistake your kindness for surrender again. The next morning is cool and quiet, like the house itself is relieved. You walk barefoot into the kitchen, noticing how strange it feels to be alone again. Strange, but not uncomfortable. You almost miss the chaos almost, but the silence holds you now. It forgives you for how long you tolerated the noise. The banner is still hanging. Family means forever. You stare at it for a moment, then step up on a chair and begin to cut it down. It resists at first, taped stubbornly into the wood, but with one sharp pull, the glittering lie curls in your hands, like something ashamed of itself. You crumple it without ceremony. It doesn't deserve one. Then you spend the morning reclaiming. Not just cleaning, reclaiming. You sweep up footprints, wipe the fingerprints from the glass doors, gather the leftover trash into black bags, separating what can be saved from what should be burned. The crayon on your bedroom wall doesn't fully come out, but that's okay. You're keeping it there for a while. A reminder. By noon, you've set up an appointment with a locksmith. By 1, the security system has a new passcode. You leave nothing behind that can be used again without your permission. Then, after a long shower, hot, deliberate renewing, you dress in clean clothes and check your inbox. Your lawyer has sent a notice first payment already processed by one of your uncles. The rest are considering their options, which is code for realizing this wasn't a bluff. You lean back in your chair and stare at the wall. You could sell this house. You've thought about it before, but not now. Now you need to live in it, really live in it, fully, loudly, alone, and not in the bitter movie montage kind of way. In the freeing way. The kind where you cook in silence and leave the dishes for tomorrow. Where you light a candle in the hallway just because you like the smell. Where every room holds your choices, not your compromises. Later, you drive to the store. You buy new sheets, new towels, a new set of mugs with thicker handles, ones no cousin has ever touched. You stop by your favorite bakery and buy a single slice of cake, just for you. Back home, you eat it standing at the counter. No party, no singing, no guilt. Just cake and peace. There's a knock at the door in the late afternoon. You know before you open it who it is. Julie. She's alone, clutching her phone like it might protect her. Her hair is clean but pulled back too tightly, like she didn't want to seem too comfortable. You don't invite her in. She doesn't ask. I wanted to talk, she says. I'm listening, you say, but you don't move from the threshold. She swallows. I messed up, I know that. You nod once, let her continue. I thought she stops herself. No, that's a lie. I didn't think. I acted. Because I always assume you'll forgive me. You say nothing. And I realize something, she continues. I keep calling it family, but what I really meant was I expected access, not love, just access. You blink, surprised by her honesty. I don't expect you to forget it. I just hope maybe one day you'll want to see me again, when I'm not holding a key that doesn't belong to me. You nod again, not in forgiveness, but in acknowledgement. And then you say quietly, this was the first time you've ever been locked out. She nods. And the first time I've realized why. You don't hug, you don't cry. You just close the door gently and stand there for a long time. Not sad, not triumphant, just clean. That night you walk through the empty house. No one's on the couch. No drinks spilled on the floor. No voices calling your name for favors they've disguised as jokes. Just you. And that's enough. For now, that's more than enough. The apology doesn't linger. You don't replay it. Don't analyze the tone or dissect the wording like you used to after every family drama those nights, where you'd lie awake wondering if you were the problem because someone else refused to acknowledge they were. This time you just accept it for what it was, a moment, not an invitation, not a repair, a brief collision with truth. And then you return to your life. The next few days are surprisingly peaceful. The phone stays mostly quiet, except for a text from your aunt. Sorry for the mess. Hope we're still good. You don't reply. Another one comes from Drew. If you're really serious about the invoice, I can Venmo you part of it now. Let me know. You delete it. They're testing the waters, hoping you'll soften, backtrack, become the version of yourself they preferred, the quiet achiever, the generous ghost. But that version of you is gone. You spend the week doing small, satisfying things. You reorganize the bookshelves. You water the plants that somehow survived the chaos. You donate the spare towels, the ones someone else used like they were disposable. At night, you light a candle, put on soft music, and read. No one interrupts. No one barges in to borrow your peace. By Friday, your lawyer sends over the formal confirmation, several payments completed, the rest marked as pending. You don't ask for updates. You don't need to. The consequences are moving without you having to push them. And then on Saturday, something unexpected happens. A package arrives, no return address, inside a small photo album wrapped in tissue. A handwritten note on top. From your mother. You hesitate before reading it. When you do, her handwriting is shaky but clear. I saw the photos. I heard what happened. I'm sorry for not protecting your space when I should have. This album is from the year we lived in the rental with no heat, and you gave me your blanket every night. You've always made a home even when you had nothing. I forgot that. Please forgive me for being silent when I should have spoken. Love, Mom. You stare at the page a long time, and you realize something. Sometimes peace doesn't come from confrontation. It comes from absence, from quiet accountability, from someone saying simply, I saw what I refused to see before. You flip through the photos. There's one of you age 7 curled up in a too big sweatshirt holding a mug of soup with both hands. Your sister is next to you asleep on the couch. Your mother in the background blurry, caught mid-laugh. It's strange the things that survive memory. You close the album, and for the first time in what feels like years, you don't feel the weight of having to explain yourself. You don't need to prove anything. Not to them, not to the internet, not even to yourself. You've already done it. You check the locks before bed. Every window, every door. But not out of fear, out of ritual, out of knowing now that your boundaries are sacred, not because someone else honors them, but because you do. And it feels good. Right, strong. You fall asleep easily, and when you wake, the house is still. Not hollow, not tense, just full of one quiet, radiant truth. You are no longer afraid of being alone in your own home. Because now you are the only one who decides who gets to stay. The neighbors stop you on your morning walk. You've lived on the street for 7 years, and most of your interactions with them have been waves from behind car windows, shared nods while taking out the trash. But today, Mr. Calderon from across the street actually crosses his lawn to talk. Wild weekend, he says, folding his arms. We thought you were throwing some kind of influencer retreat. You almost laugh. Not quite. He grins. Heard a lot of shouting Sunday morning. Then, poof, quiet again. You nod. It's been handled. He tips his hat satisfied. Well, I just wanted to say good for you. The words catch you off guard. Not because they're dramatic, because they aren't. Just simple, grounded acknowledgement. It stays with you longer than expected. By noon, your inbox dings with another payment confirmation. Your cousin who once told you to chill out, it's just a couch, has paid for reupholstery and carpet cleaning. No apology, no note, just the transaction. It's enough. You no longer need the groveling. The next day you meet your contractor to discuss updates, not repairs, revisions. You're changing the layout, shifting the guest rooms into home offices, removing the entertaining space entirely. No more open floor plans inviting too much noise, too much presence. Instead, a reading nook, a library ladder, a lockable garden gate. Your house is evolving the way you are, with quiet intention. When the contractor leaves you, sit on the newly cleared patio, barefoot, tea in hand, and stare at the sky. The quiet has depth now. It's not emptiness. It's space. Space for you to move, think, breathe. Your phone buzzes. Jules again. You debate ignoring it, but curiosity wins. The message is short: I'm moving out next month. Thought you should know. No more borrowing space I didn't earn. Take care. You pause. Then type, I hope this version of you stays. No emoji, no warmth, just truth. She replies, me too. You leave it there. Later, you go through the guest closets. Every item is sorted into keep, donate, or what were they thinking? You find things that don't belong to you: a hoodie, a pair of gold hoop earrings, a baby sock. You box them up and leave them on the porch with a sign unclaimed. Pick up by Sunday. No one does. It rains that night. Hard. You watch from the window as the cardboard wilts. You don't move to rescue it. It's not yours to save. On Sunday, you bring the box in and throw it out gently like a closing ceremony. It lands in the bin with a soft thump that feels like punctuation. You stand there a moment longer looking at the empty porch and realize something else. You're no longer waiting for them to understand. You're no longer editing yourself to be digestible. And best of all, you no longer feel guilty for locking the door. The final payment lands that evening. You skim the line item "damage reimbursement final transfer." And just like that, it's over. No ceremony, no grand confrontation. Just quiet closure. The kind you don't announce. The kind you just live. You sit on the floor of your living room, legs crossed, hands wrapped around a cup of tea, and look around. The walls are the same. The floor is the same. The light filtering through the blinds still paints golden stripes on the rug. And yet everything feels different, because now every inch of this space has been reasserted, reclaimed. Every surface bears the fingerprint of your choice, not someone else's assumption. You've never known a silence like this before. Not the strained kind, not the resentful quiet that follows a family blowout. No, this one is earned, tender, the sound of sovereignty. There's no more explaining, no more justifying why you prefer solitude, or why your peace was never meant to be shared without invitation. And the best part? No one's texting "we miss you." No one's asking when the next gathering will be. They finally understand this house has rules now. Not because you became bitter, but because you became clear. There are marks left behind, of course. The faint stain from a spilled soda near the stairs. A scratch on the doorframe from someone dragging in a suitcase without care. A fingerprint smudge on the mirror that won't buff out. But you don't erase them. They stay. Not as wounds, but as reminders. Of the moment you stopped accommodating other people's comfort at the expense of your own. Of the night you walked into a room filled with strangers and reclaimed it by saying nothing at all. Of how you learned the most radical thing you could do was close the door. You leave the cup on the windowsill and walk outside. The air smells like rain and new beginnings. You wander the yard barefoot on the damp grass and pause beside the lemon tree you planted last year. It's grown quietly, stubbornly beneath everyone's notice. You touch its leaves and whisper, "Still here." It feels like a vow. Inside, the phone rings once. You let it go. You've already answered everything that matters. Later, you'll bake something. Maybe that honey bread your grandmother used to make. Not to share, just for you. A celebration in crumbs and sweetness. The sun begins to set, casting a warm glow through the windows. You turn on a single lamp, low, soft light that hugs the corners instead of chasing them. You curl up with a book you've already read 3 times. Because rereading something beautiful is still better than inviting in something loud. Because solitude isn't punishment. It's your inheritance. You've claimed it finally. And no one's taking it again. The house settles around you like a blanket. No voices echo down the hallway. No footsteps interrupt the rhythm of your breath. Just the faint hum of the world outside, softened by walls you've reclaimed not just with locks or invoices, but with quiet choices. Personal ones. Sacred ones. You sit still, watching the shadows move gently across the ceiling, long and slow, like the house is exhaling. The kind of stillness that doesn't ask anything from you. It just lets you be. There's no rush to sleep tonight. No pressure to be anywhere else for anyone else. The story has been told. The lines are drawn. And now, it's just you and the peace you built yourself. It turns out silence isn't empty. It's full of truth. It carries the soft echo of your own voice, finally heard, finally trusted. And you don't need anyone to validate it. You turn off the lamp. The dark folds around you, gentle and velvet. You lie back. Not as someone bracing for the next blow, but as someone who knows there won't be one. Not tonight. Not here. Not anymore. The bed doesn't creak with strangers now. The air doesn't carry borrowed laughter. It holds only you and the simple quiet knowing that this space is yours. You've drawn the boundary and held it. You've chosen yourself without noise, without apology. And if you're still awake, that's okay too. Some nights just lying still and breathing softly is enough to return home to yourself.